These are all of my notes on the Opalite music video, so let's go through them. Okay, first of all, the Opalite music video came out on February 6th, 2026, which is 2626. And some people asked, why didn't it come out on the 13th? Well, 2626 is just lovely numerology, and 13 times 2 is 26. Okay, it begins very retro 90s. She described it as 90s. Yes, there are a lot of 80s feel to it as well, but as we know, decades bleed into the next decade. So 90s commercial, the whole music video is featuring lots of the Eras crew. So we have Eras dancers Karen and Jan for this opening commercial. Okay, Cillian Murphy is narrating. It introduces Opalite as the revolutionary fix to your problems. Works on friendships, couples, pets, and co-workers. It's so funny. She uses it on garbage. Now we are transitioning out of the television to Taylor's living room where she was watching this commercial. We see VHS tapes next to the TV. I can't read what every single one of them say. I can make out little bits. One of them says self-help tape. One of them says, I think, tips for making friends. One possibly says longings unspoken. I don't know if that's what it says. I was trying to make it fit, but that is a lyric, so I just threw it in there. She turns off the TV, and here is where the singing in the song starts. There's an open box on the floor labeled My Best Friend. This can be a My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys reference. He took me out of my box. He was my best friend. The OG lyrics to that part where she says he was my best friend says, and that was the worst part, which, oh my God, that hurts. It also reminds me of her wanting a best friend who I think is hot. These are Collect Them All friendship rocks, and we see her on the couch and the rock is next to her. Now they are out on a playground on children's swings, so this reminds me of the Fresh Out the Slammer lyric. She's with the rock falls off, of course, and she has to jump off and make sure it's okay and take care of it. It's a rock. It also reminds me of a wish list reference because behind Taylor and the rock is a family. It's a mom and 2 children. Now she's back in her living room and there's a bunch of papers on the floor. This reminded me of real life Taylor's songwriting. You can tell that she's attempted this quite a few times with the half folded papers on the floor, the pens. She's making like an old, like a cootie catcher fortune teller. And when she finally finishes it, she shows it to this rock who obviously gives no reaction because it's a rock. I thought it was interesting that on the table where the rock is, there are other rocks and gemstones of some kind, and they're like much prettier, but she's befriending this rock. On this part, her shirt is like blocks of different colors, like stripes, but it was really interesting because they are red, yellow, blue, and purple, which are the colors of the Taylor's versions that she recorded before she got her master's back. There's also a TV guide in the back on the shelf. It is interesting that it says TV and it is green. Now she's in her bedroom making friendship bracelets with the rock next to her. The bracelet that she makes says Friends Forever and she puts it on the rock. Right next to the rock, there is a George Michael CD booklet. Of course, a father figure reference. Now she's getting dressed for a date. We see her in this really cute red dress and it is very much giving She's All That, which is one of my favorite movies. Here we see George Michael again in her room. There are 2 posters on the wall, which was interesting to me. There's like a bigger one and then the same George Michael poster on top of it, and then there's also like a George Michael vinyl sleeve on the floor, and she's trying to put this string around her, this like reddish pinkish string, and it reminded me of Invisible String, and she's really trying to make it work and trying to make it fit. Here we have a very close-up of her and she swipes glitter near her chest, sort of in the same-ish area that she gets hit with an arrow on the Anti-Hero music video. On that music video, she bleeds glitter. On this, she's putting glitter on her. So that was internal. This is now external. The internal, she wasn't normal. She was bleeding glitter. She wanted to hide it, but now she is embracing it. She wants to shine. She's now healed. She's the one who's wearing it. She wants to be bejeweled. And now she puts it on the rock because she wants it to shine too, and she wants to like share this with the rock. Now we see her at a karaoke bar singing Opalite with the rock. This is on channel 12. You'll see a 12 on the TV. Again, she wants it to shine. She wants it to share experiences with her. She hands the mic over for backup, but it's a rock, so it's consistently giving nothing. Now she's at a bar. She sits there with a rock on the counter, asks for 2 drinks. Now we see Greta Lee on the screen. This is channel 3 on MTV. The strap and the whole area that she's singing in is the same as the Opalite CD cover. We have more Eras crew here at the bar. When someone walks up, she tells her the seat is taken, which reminded me of at every table, I'll save you a seat. Shows that she's always thinking of them and making sure that they are included, but they're not really showing up for her in that same way. Like a rock can't save you a seat, you know? As we see this, we see how this rock is preventing her from making real friends and real connections while she's out, because she's constantly worried about the rock and how to like entertain it and how to like make it, you know, enjoy being with her. She's trying to like make it happen. Meanwhile, it's rock, so it's giving nothing back. The bartender tells her, "Ma'am, please leave." Now, leave the bar or leave the relationship? Now we see a 90s workout video featuring Eras dancers and Jodie Turner-Smith. She's also working out to it as she's watching it on the screen. I thought it was interesting because there are weights, like literal weights next to her, but she's using the rock to work out. This reminded me of So Long London lyrics and Tolerate lyrics. She very much talks about like carrying a lot of the weight in a relationship, and that really weighing on her and that really eventually being the thing that broke her back, because she was carrying everything. The tolerated part is gain the weight of you, then lose it. After the workout, she says high five to the rock. She's constantly trying to entertain it or elicit any reaction from it at all, but again, it's a rock. Reminded me of stop trying to make him laugh, stop trying to drill the safe, and I'm still trying everything to get you laughing at me. Now we see Donald Gleason. This is the second verse has started, so now we're gonna see his part of the story, and he has a cactus. Behind him, there's a calendar. I can't really read what it says, but I matched it up to the 2026 calendar, and it looks like it matches March, which is interesting because we talked about the channels, Greta's, and the karaoke bar. So that was 312. So just interesting, since pretty sure it was March in the background, so look out for 312, I guess. So he tells the cactus, "Good night, darling," gets pricked on the finger. The clock says 12:12, which of course is the 12th album. And then on the wall, there's a "With Love from Your Mother" card. Now I see him playing pool. Again, he gets poked in the face by this cactus. He arrives at the movie theater in the mall, and he is all bandaged up. Like, we increasingly see him with more bandages around him and his body. There are stores in the background of this shot that say "Softer Than a Kitten" and "Keys to the City," which are Life of the Showgirl lyrics. We see Kevin, another Eras Tour dancer, at the movie theater. Next to him, it says "Patient for the encore." What does that mean? He, like the bartender, says, "Sir, please leave." So now we have a second outsider who sees their relationship and is telling them, please leave. Now they're out to a dinner date. We see a picture of Portofino in the background. Elizabeth Taylor. He tells the cactus, "You look amazing," but we see him increasingly more injured, and a waitress steps into frame, and you can see that she is also injured from this cactus. Even she's bandaged up. Now we arrive to the Christmas party. We have an Austin Swift sighting. Everyone is having a good time with each other, but Donal and this cactus are in the center, and he's literally just taking care of this cactus while everyone else is like chatting and, you know, getting to know each other and have fun and whatever, and he's constantly worried about this cactus. He's stuck, he's lonely, and he's caring for it, only paying attention to the cactus. In this party, there are also more Eras crew. So now he's fed up. He's done. We see him calling the number for Opalite. In the background, there is a photo of Killian on the computer. They're both in frame now. They open this package. Opalite has arrived. The interesting part here is that he sprays the cactus because the cactus has been constantly hurting him. He knows that. He needs something to change. However, she sprays herself because it's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. She thought she needed to change to be like the rock, but instead Opalite didn't change her at all. It just showed her that she could be exactly who she was with someone else. She appears in his living room covered in this blue goop. Kind of very much like, I don't know, blue goop just like is very alien-esque, so it reminds me of Down Bad, which is about an alien abduction. After you've been picked up and dropped back off, you are on your way to find or meet someone else who will care for you in a way that that other person didn't. They just literally dropped you off. We see him washing her off in a bathtub. This reminded me of in the shower how my rain-soaked body was shaking from the black dog, but he's taking care of her. So in this case, he is saving her heart from the fate of Ophelia, which Ophelia drowned and he's you know, washing her off with water. Also very clean, the song. Now they're sitting in his dining room and it's very like awkward. They're just like across from each other. She is wearing the cardigan that he was wearing earlier. So after he like washed her off, he clearly gave her a set of clothes, which was literally the clothes off his back. She presents the fortune teller cootie catcher to him as like a break the ice. He says, "Oh, I love this game." And it was very, very sweet. Obviously a different reaction than a rock, which gives nothing. It reminded me of the bird theory, just being so happy to be there in this other person's presence and showing interest, not just in what they're interested in, but in a future together. On the cootie catcher fortune teller, it says moonstone, opalite, onyx, and sapphire. Now we are back at the mall taking mall photos. Here we enter Louis Capaldi. There's a crown on the side, which reminds me of "You Wrap Around Me Like a Chain, a Crown of Vine." I love this part. They're just bringing the silliness out in each other, genuinely enjoying each other's company. Louis now asks to be their friend, which is so cute. They were not making these connections before because they were too worried about their previous partners. And so now they have more freedom to be silly and to make those connections with other people. At the mall, we see other stores in this shot, such as Cactus World, Dear Protege, It's Electric, Sweeter Than a Peach, and Infamy Loves Company. Opalite is now introduced, which is the #2 bestseller. We see more Eras dancers and Graham Norton. He gives out a free sample, and when he takes an Opalite, he turns into a stapler. We see Taylor and Donald walking in the mall with pretzels. There are more Eras crew in this shot, and they see the cactus, flipping them off. In the rock, still glittery, that has a bracelet now that says "F you forever," Mad Woman reference. The glitter shows that she's still a part of them and people are only looking at that rock because of her sparkle. She's wearing butterfly earrings, a vintage cat sweater, and these cutie freckles. Now we see a big Cillian Murphy poster. Graham Norton has a sample again and she now goes for it. Very much self-sabotage tendencies. However, Donald's character pushes it away. And now we have the cutest part ever. I love this bit so much. They are dancing in glitter showgirl colored jumpsuits. This is a dance competition, in a way Napoleon Dynamite-esque, but also very me-coded. Here we see Cam. They get all zeros on the O's of the Opalite chorus, but they don't even care because they were just laughing and having the time of their lives together. We literally hear Donald's character say, "You're amazing." That part is very honey, which is one of my favorites off of The Life of a Showgirl. And then we have the ending scenes. It tells us what everyone's been up to, you know, where they ended up, and the last bit says, "Garbage is still garbage." Then we end with clips of the Graham Norton show where we have Graham Norton, Louis Capaldi, Greta Lee, Jodie Turner-Smith, Cillian Murphy, and Donald Gleason. I love this bit because it just circles back. So she was on Graham Norton during the release week of The Life of a Showgirl. And Donald jokingly said, "I'm just trying to get into a Taylor Swift music video." So in true Taylor fashion, she was like, "Yes, but I'm actually gonna put everyone that was here in this music video." So that was very cute. So I loved seeing that. I love that she walks out on the show to Karma and she kept that in the video. Just love it because yes girl, yes, Karma is your boyfriend. I love how 90s it is. VHS's, butterflies, workout videos, the mall photos, chokers, and I love that it just showed that her with a partner and him with a partner that made them shine and sparkle, really brought out that childlike spark of joy. Cue eldest daughter bridge. And those were all my notes. Let me know if you saw anything else.